Look at
Hey,
that. We got an intro. It's a real show.
yeah, welcome to the Frequency Project.
Hey guys, want me to say what we're gonna talk about? We're gonna tell you what we're gonna.
We're gonna talk about what we're gonna talk about right
Yeah.
now.
So today's kind of exciting because Joe has had a numerologist for years, and if y'all don't know what numerology is, because you'll be just like me, I'm basically a novice at even understanding what numerology is, but it is kind of another way of knowing yourself, like astrology, in my understanding. And today, um, because it's relevant to frequencies, we're going to talk about the frequencies of numbers and how numbers have patterns. And um, I'm just going to leave it at that because Wes is the expert, and we will kind of delve deeper into what he wants to share with us.
Yeah, we're gonna be having a guy named Wes Hamilton on here very shortly, and he has been my numerologist for probably right around 10 years now, I guess. When I first met him, it was at some convention thing that my girlfriend at the time she knew somebody that was there, and somebody knew Wes, and he was doing these readings for like $20 or something. So my girlfriend was like, "All right, we got to go talk to Wes or whatever." I was like, oh, "Okay, whatever." And go over to him. He knows nothing about me. He's never met me in my life. I give him my name and my birth date, and the guy proceeds for the next like 20 minutes to tell me everything about my life precisely, and how it's been, how it's going to be, the type of person that I am, how I think internally that other people don't even know about. Like, he knew things that I was like, wow, I don't even know how you knew that. So, long story short, that made an impact, but not enough to like do anything about it at that time. But maybe about a year later, something happened. I think I broke up with that girlfriend, and then I was I started my journey of like understanding myself and needing to change things, and I decided to call him up, and we did a 1 year long session, not just straight, but it was like every week, 2 hours once a week for a year. And I'd go there. Half the time we'd do meditation. This is the guy that taught me how to meditate. And then the other half of the time, it was almost like therapy, and we just talked about things, and how, where I want to be, and what the numerology said, like where the timing is, and how can I accomplish these things. And it literally changed my life. Like, if I had never met Wes, I would be a totally different person. So hold on.
That's so
uh,
cool, man.
yeah, sorry, I'm talking to Wes here, and he's wanting me to send it to his email.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't even know that. It sounds like he's using numerology kind of like as a blueprint to kind of be a coach for you, right? Like for your life.
Yes, it was a whole like coaching program that I had paid for, but well worth the money, in my opinion, because yeah, like I said, it changed my life. And hold on, let me just shoot this guy an email real quick. Mm,
Yeah, I think one of the things that I want to ask him is about like angel numbers. You know how people always say they see repeating numbers? Because obviously that's a thing for me. Uh, Seeing 1111 was a whole pathway for me into spirituality unexpectedly. And
mm.
so I think a lot of people that do know me know about my 1111 thing, and I have it tattooed now. And you're part of that gang. We kind of have an 1111 gang where we all kind of met each other, and we see.
Yeah, we have four. What is it? 4 people, 5 people now, right?
Yeah.
That have the 1111 on their arm. I also do too, but I got my sweatshirt on. Um, there's Wes now. Uh, Hold on.
It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a phenomenon. It's a language.
Um, yeah. So you're saying that's your angel number? Is that what you're saying?
Well, at the time when it was happening to me, I just searched Google about seeing 1111, and it pulled up all this crazy shit. And this was back in like 2002,
Yeah.
and that was when Google was just like brand new, kind of like Chat GPT is now. Like
Yeah.
um, so I searched it, and then the only thing that really came up was these really weird culty things, and then like a book, and I ordered the book, and it was really weird for me at the time. And as time progressed in life in general, just 1111 to me became an indicator that I was on my path. It was kind of like a sign for me to know that this is the right decision. It just kept popping up at really synchronistic times in my life. And yeah, that's all I can really say about it in a short story, because I don't want to like say the same thing again when he gets here. But
Well, have you figured out what the 1111 is though? I mean, you must
oh
have,
yeah,
right?
sorry, I didn't
Right.
answer the question. So a lot of people now are calling them angel numbers
Mm,
when they see these repeating numbers, like 1111 or 555 or 444. They're saying that angels are watching over them. To
mm,
me, I think that's a very simple way of explaining some probably very complex universe things that are happening.
right.
Um, just like using the word God to me is a
Yep.
very simple word to explain something that is hard to put language to. Um, but yeah, if you search the internet now for repeating numbers, they call them angel numbers, and that's what. There's a lot of people that say they see them, and look, we can go down the rabbit hole of saying you're forcing yourself to see them, but I can tell you honestly that these numbers were popping up for me at a time in my life that I was definitely not looking for repeating numbers. They just happened.
Yeah, what my research on the 1111 is that like whenever you see the 11s, it means you're like on the right path. So whenever I see that, I'm just like, okay, whatever I'm doing at that moment, I take note and I'm like, okay, this is the way.
Right. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of how I've been navigating life the last probably since 2002. But now things are getting crazier, man. Like I'm seeing all the repeating numbers, and it's just like more in my face. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, okay. And so now I'm trying to, I'm excited to have Wes because there is a frequency to specific numbers now. So instead of just like, oh, I'm on my path, generic, it's like, listen up, this number 555 carries this frequency.
Right,
It's
right,
telling
right.
you something specific about maybe your career right now or your
Right. Actually, yeah,
relationship.
that's a good thing to maybe start off with Wes. He's here now. Let's bring him in. Uh, hey,
Wes.
Wes,
All right. Here I am.
how's it going?
Life's good. Starting to get warm weather.
Yeah. Oh, Wes is out in Minnesota.
Yep.
Okay.
Is it still snowing, or is it? It is. It's starting to get a little warmer.
Last Thursday. Yeah, we have more snow this year than we have most. If we had 9 more inches, we reached the record.
Oh my gosh.
Wes, I don't think you've never met my friend David,
No.
my co-host here. This is David Lawrence, Wes Hamilton,
Nice to meet
and
you, Wes.
we were just talking about uh 1111. You know how I have 1111 tattooed on my arm? David also has it. We have several people, our friends, and we're we've both done separate research. What I've seen is like when you see 1111, it means like you're on the right path. But obviously, those numbers have a numerology attached to it. Can you explain something like that? Like where that, or actually, you know what? I think I'm just jumping in. Why don't you
Yeah.
go ahead and explain who you are, what you do?
All right.
Sorry. We'll get back into that in a minute.
Well, I'm Wes Hamilton. And over the years, I've had a lot of careers. And for the last probably 25, 30 years, I've been fascinated by numerology. And I've studied so much that people refer to me, and I now accept that I'm a master numerologist. And what that means is I've put in my 10 to 20,000 hours to the point where the numbers talk to me just like angels and guides and pets. Um, I've written my own software program to satisfy the needs of people asking me basically two questions: who the heck am I and what am I here to do? So that's how I designed my new program, just answering those two questions and with all the different frequencies. That's what I'm up to, and I do it. I use numerology a lot. When I've been a real estate broker for 40 some years, I used it to find the right day to put the house on the market, probably the day that it would sell. I used it a lot with the people to find out where they were at in life with their own particular path in life. Each year we have a personal path. So when you use all those tools, it was really easy to buy and sell real estate. It's amazing.
Nice, nice.
That's incredible.
So, I was also explaining to David how I met you, and the whole process that we did that was probably about a year long. Can you explain what that is? What you offer there?
Yeah, I call it a spiritual life leadership coaching program. And it's a combination of several things that I experienced going through life trying to find my way. And the core of it is to awaken your light body. And the light body is the energy field that is always around us. It's where we go when the physical body dies. And we build it from the core of who we are up and down our spine and build it out to connect us to heaven and earth. So, yeah, Joe, you were an active participant once a week for at least a year.
It was at least, yeah. Um, when you mentioned light body, now is that in correlation? Is that like the same thing as your aura?
Similar, the aura is our own personal aura. The light body goes out about 30 feet, and that's always around us. Typically, you had to die to get to your light body. But about 40 years ago, the master guides taught some people on how to find it and access it so that others could find it. So
Sorry,
once you,
Wes, you're cutting out a little bit. I don't know if like the microphone is a little far, or I just want to make sure everybody can hear you.
yeah, I'm on my iPhone,
Okay.
so um,
Oh, okay, okay.
the difference, yeah, because I got my Apple desktop and my
Yeah.
everything else is the generic brand.
Is like the speaker part, the microphone part, touching on the table?
No, I have it in a
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, then we'll just work with what we got then. Um, So yeah, no, when the reason why I brought up Aura is because in the Healy device that we use, it has an Aura analysis, right? And maybe David can explain that a little bit better.
Have you
Not to
ever
put you
heard
on the
of this
spot, but
Healy
yeah.
device? Or heard of the Healy or frequency devices
uh,
before?
Joe talked to me about it. I've done some research on it. I've tried a few other frequency devices. I have one in my home. Uh,
So
the original Rife machine that was
yes,
1830, I think.
yes. So this Healy device was created by a monk and a quantum physicist when they worked with a lot of other scientists who work with frequencies and healing. Rife frequencies were the base of some of the programs that are in the Healy, as well as gold frequencies that this researcher Nuno Nina has researched.
Hmm.
So Joe and I started this live or podcast, this show, so that we could kind of talk to people like yourself and try and educate people about energy. And listen, we're complete novices here, and this kind of was a gateway into a lot of things for us that has opened a lot of doors, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, when you start breaking things down to the fact that everything is energy, everything has a vibration. So this device has a program, an ability to read your aura, scan your chakras, and tell you what is out of alignment and how to bring you back into bioenergetic balance, is what Healy calls it. And there's programs, basically, there's a program for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and over the last 3 years, I've been using this, my wife and I, and we've just had a lot of positive results. It's hard to explain with words because it's energy and it's happening. It's going through my body, and I can feel it, and I can feel the difference. Um, but as Joe was saying, spirituality for me actually began with the 1111. And 1111 was back in 2002, a reoccurring, undeniable occurrence in my life. Like it just, whether it was a license plate or an address or a phone number. I mean, back in 2002, we didn't have iPhones. Google was just coming out. I was riding my bike everywhere in college, and so for me, it was like an in your face sign that I needed to follow, which then became for me, angels are watching. This is the right path for me. I'm going to keep following this path, but not really knowing the full information, because not really knowing where to go to get that information. And now speaking with Joe, and him taking the numerology course with you and spending a year learning that numbers have a vibration as well, really is a nice segue and a link to what we're doing here, I think. And yeah, so
Right.
that's the
Right.
answer.
Like
Did I answer
what?
that?
So Wes, like what? Because me and you spoke briefly like a week ago about the connection between frequencies and numerology. Can you speak further on that?
Yeah, the way numerology measures information is something that Pythagoras set up years ago, 500 BC. And what he said is numbers have an energy about them, just like people do, just like stones do. And so he was able to identify with his research that the number one had a certain frequency, a two, and so forth. And he created a program with words to it so we could understand. And the numbers 1 through 9 are the basic frequency. And numerology says, well, if your number one is a first name or birth name, or if it's someplace in your chart, using a particular formula, we can identify what's going on in your life. Just like your healing machine can identify what's going on with a chakra, numerology uses frequencies within what I call your soul's blueprint to identify who you are, where you're going in life, where you've been, and what are your challenges and what are your gifts. So when you look at a snapshot of a numerology chart, it's just a bunch of numbers, and you understand every number in there has got a different tone frequency. It becomes the orchestra of who you are. So yes, the healing machine works because it identifies energies in your aura, and it can tweak the energies that are out of alignment back into alignment by setting up a resonance through the machine.
Not now. Not only does the Healy just can send out harmonious frequencies to harmonize your chakras, it also goes to the next level and kind of does what you can do with numerology when you're talking to the person, where it's like you're coaching or helping them. It's almost like therapy, like what we did. And the Healy actually can do that too, which is the part that kind of amazes me. So you can run an analysis, and then it'll come up with all this stuff. It'll go really deep, like your father was controlling when you were growing up and stuff like that. And it gets you to really start contemplating these things, and it's been pretty accurate from what I've seen. Me and David are still doing more and more research. It's so very new, so we're just trying to like grasp it. But even my wife, who's a therapist, is starting to try to implement this in her practice as well. um, but no, I just found that amazing that it's able to do that. How do you think that that's possible? I mean, we know what it's based on, but I just don't even understand where they come up with this information from just pressing a button on here.
Well, it's the same place I come up with information that maybe your father was controlling based upon the day you were born.
Based upon what?
Day you were born and the
Right.
year, month, day, and the year you were born sets
Yeah.
up vibration in your soul that you came here to learn how to compensate and deal with.
Would you say that in numerology that 1111 is actually four?
It's actually what
Four?
it can be. It can be. The ones represent things like,
Hold on, Wes. I
yeah,
don't know, David. Did you have a motorcycle going by, or was that Wes? Okay, sorry. Start over again, Wes. Sorry.
yeah. The one in numerology is about confidence, leadership, independence. And when you see them lined up like that with the 11 or the double 11s, it's asking you or telling you there's an alignment happening here.
I don't know about this.
So the angel numbers that you see on the internet or guides, it's some kind of an awareness or awakening. If you pay a little more attention to subtle intuitive getting, you're going to develop a communication system with the part of you that
Hold
this.
on, David. Can you hear him, or is this just me?
It's breaking up a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, we literally, Wes. Unfortunately, we really like, can't even hear what you're saying. Is there any
Okay.
way to like move
Well,
the
let me
microphone closer?
room and see if that'll help.
All right.
It may be the Wi-Fi connection, or if you're connected to cellular and it's a low connection, could be either or.
Could be.
Yeah.
Any of this better now? I'll continue talking, going out here.
Here it does seem clearer.
Seems a little better.
Is it?
Yes.
Turn this up here.
Hey, that room looks familiar.
Yeah, you spent a year here. Yeah, this was your go-to place for wisdom.
Those couches are super comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. You still once in a while, Joe, because the lights flash. You remember that?
What's that?
You remember that the lights used to flash on and off when we'd be working?
That's a lot. There was a lot of power going on in there.
Well, that's the angels. That's their way of communicating and saying, there's a lot happening here, and we're acknowledging the lights flash when amazing things start.
All right. Do you think that sounds a little better, David? Or
Yeah.
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 All right.
It's electricity, right? Everything is electricity, and communication is easier through that.
Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. So like maybe backtrack a little bit and then.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So the 1111 is on the internet. People are calling it the angel numbers or your guides. In numerology, we look at it as an alignment because the ones are about alignment, self-confidence, leadership, independence. And when you get more than one number together, like the 1111, that says it's very important that you start listening to your intuition because the angels or your guide or what's called your higher self is trying to communicate with you directly from the part of you that does know the. So 1111, the ones are all about alignment into a higher source.
So within 1111 repeating, would you say that there is that individuality, the leadership, the intuition, but would it also carry like a subtext for energy as well? Or would you put that in there at all?
Um, it's a frequency that causes or creates what I talked about with confidence, leadership, independence. So, yes, it's a frequency. Um, and the frequency is about what I just mentioned: independence, leadership, confidence, those alignment. So, uh, energy is measured. I don't know, Joe, did you talk to David about our core passion assessment where we measure the energy of your inner spirit?
No, I have not.
Okay. It's another program that we were gifted by our angels and guides, and it was tested through the science world, the psychologist, and became an accredited program to use in the corporate world. And we typically measure the energy of your passion coming from your inner spirit based on an assessment that was created. And it's amazing.
Wow.
It gives you words to what's in your head and your heart of why you do what you do.
So
That's
essentially, it sounds like you're saying that all this stuff, the frequencies, numerology, it's all based on the same thing. And what that thing is like information or energy that's like just essentially just written in the stars and it's just always there. And you just have to tap into it, right? This is
Exactly.
probably the same energy also that Nikola Tesla tapped into, right? And we have this humongous source of energy around us at all times, and people have lost their way of figuring out how to tap into it. Is that what we're saying here?
That's exactly what we're saying. And I just finished listening to a podcast that talks about how we lost it as we evolved as one cell animals and grew into different, I guess, species and humans. We survived by listening to the energy of us. We didn't have communication. And the more we develop communication and now technology,
Mm.
we rely on that and we can't hear because we've lost our ability to listen. Um,
Right, that makes sense. Like dogs and other animals, they can sense or feel these other vibrations. Or their intuition is like more on point. They're like they know when a storm's coming or whatever. And most likely, humans probably used to be like that as well, and we still are. We just ignore those things now because we have other things we focus on that we think are more true now, but that they're like tangible, right? It's interesting.
that's exactly right. And it's like a muscle that we haven't used. It's gone silent. It's atrophied. It's there. And the way you find your way back is through meditation and journaling.
Right. Yeah, I was just gonna say, David just started journaling.
Good. Stay with it, David. You got those 11s around you. They want to communicate with you.
They
That's
are. They definitely are. I was telling Joe that I've kind of been the 1111 has guided me, and now I'm seeing a lot more 444s, 555s, 333s, and it's happening again as strong as the 1111 was. And I feel like now they're trying to not only tell me you're on your path, but very specific things. And the numbers to me, because they're different and they carry a different energy, they must mean yes, vaguely I'm on my path, but more specifically, if I can go into, is it career choice? Is it relationship? Is it, just something more specific? Delve deeper into the I'm on my path kind of thing. Um, yeah,
Like multiple numbers in a row, well, usually what, like three numbers, three fives or five or four fives or something like that?
Yeah, that's how it typically went to get started. There was a book written many years ago called The Angels Among Us, and that was from a very successful businessman who had business meetings around the world, and he always woke up at 4:44. And when he'd be talking to these different people around the world, they'd say, "Yeah, I wake up at 4:44." And he finally got a group together that was being guided by their spirit guides or their angels, and wrote a book about it. Came here and gave a talk. Lori brought him into the Twin Cities. There was 1,000 people listening.
Wow.
Yeah,
So what was the 444? What is this? What does it mean?
that was his sign that the angels are communicating with you. Go for it. Take those risks that you've always wondered, should I? And
Hmm. Interesting. So basically, whenever you see repeated numbers, like David was saying, it means you're like on the right path, right? But David's trying to, I think, say like, all right, he's trying to figure out what specifically, because it's not always just 555 or whatever, right? It's multiple different ones.
Yeah, I think there is nuances to the you're on your path at this point. So I started listening to the repeating numbers beyond 1111 just recently. There was a hurricane here, and I so it wasn't bad when we went to bed, and we were kind of tracking the hurricane. We're like, it's just going to be a light thing because it happens here in Florida all the time. I didn't know if I said I was in Florida, but I'm in Florida. So I
Definitely
mean,
not in Minnesota.
yeah, we're used to the hurricanes. You know, you can kind of say, oh, the epicenter is going over the south or the middle or the north, and you can, as you track it, you're a local. You just kind of, okay, it's fine. When you go to bed, this one's going to be okay. Well, we started to hear the wind, and I woke up from a dream that the house was underwater. There was a lake out in the front yard, and to wake up, I woke up and went to go put flood barriers on the outside, and it was 333. So I go, whoa, that's different to the 1111, and to me that was like clearly a sign. Like the power was out. I looked at my phone. You know, it was just one of those moments. It was like really crisp and clear. And since that moment, it's like 444, 555. These have all been showing up. And so I feel like now it's more about the nuances to the vibration of maybe the number specifically, or so I'm trying to use my intuition to decipher that for myself, but I also have a lot of friends around me in my community that are doing the same thing. They're posting, stories, or they take pictures of seeing these repeating numbers. And then you also have all the people around you that are like, oh, you're doing that. You're seeing, you're looking for it and then wanting this to happen. So I can honestly say it's not something I've ever like wished. It's just happened. And so I can only take it as a sign for me.
well,
And
it's a good sign, David. And if you think about it, what's happening for you when you start seeing it more than one time and all of a sudden you see it a lot, your consciousness is opening up to be able to see what's always been in front of you. You just couldn't see it.
right.
Think of it as a little red sports car, a little red Cooper. You see one, you're going to see them everywhere. You buy one, everybody's got one.
That's
Mhm.
so true. Yeah.
So the numbers are the same way. And it's because, and that's what the meditation work that Joe went through, it expands our consciousness a little bit more each day, each day, each day. And when you're aware of something, you can see it where it could have been sitting right in front of you for your whole life. The people that work in this room here got a lot of artifacts and pictures and sacred symbols all over. They'll be here 5, 6, 8, 10 months. Oh, get that picture? No, that's been here. But it's because their consciousness is opened up. And that's with any kind of work we do with awareness and focus opens our consciousness.
So it's like you're tapping in more. David, with the Healy, and he's journaling, and then also lots of yoga. Do you meditate, David?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, but the meditation thing is fairly recent,
Yeah, I think the
right?
meditation is the newest thing for me.
Yeah,
It's been like the last 2 years.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, th- I think I kind of went through the same thing too, where like you just like what Wes said, you start to see all these things, and then you're like, "What is this?" And you dive in, and you're trying to figure it all out. What it really is just you're just seeing what's always there, and it's basically your intuition just visualized almost, right? Right? Would you say that?
Yeah, it's your consciousness, which we have. And when you access another level of it, you start seeing things in a different format from a different perspective, and you're seeing something that's always been there.
Hmm.
And most of the world is listening or living in a tiny little bubble, kind of like the Truman Show, that they only see what is put in front of them so that they can see it. And when you open up past what you've always been used to, you read books, meditate, journal, you go on a retreat, vision quest, or any of those things, it does something to our brain to get us out of our bubble.
Hmm.
When we get out of the bubble, all of a sudden more information is there than searching.
I'd like to shift gears a little bit and go deep because we love going super deep on this show. Um, can we? And I don't mean to like put you on the spot because it could be really like technical and deep, but like with Pythagoras, can we like go a little bit deeper? Can you explain a little bit about like how he figured out that like these numbers actually had a correlation to frequencies, and can you go a little bit deeper on that?
From the research I've done, Pythagoras had a college and it was all about science and art. And he studied everything as a collective instead of a separate. And he was fascinated by frequency. And he gave us all the frequencies we used in today's world to build and construct and analyze. We typically all remember the name Pythagorean theorem. But he and his group, his peers, traveled the world and went back into 5,000 years before him and discovered every country, every culture that they went to used the name and the birthday to help people understand who they were. He took their information and translated into our number system and our system. So that's the depth I know of how Pythagoras did it. He did his research based upon his intuitive knowledge, and then he proved it by creating these programs, tracking it, doing numerology readings. So, and I tell you, numerology has been used most of the time up until the last 100 years when the medical world said, well, you can't use that to that's crazy. But
So
it's
Oh, oh.
been standard for thousands of years.
you're cutting out a little bit, but
Would you go with the idea that um, numbers? So you were saying he was coming up with kind of a language to talk about the things that are almost beyond words, and numbers are a way to explain the unexplainable in a lot of ways. And numbers also carry patterns that we find in nature. And because we are nature and it's one and the same, that numbers were kind of a way to be able to find a base language to kind of explain spirituality in a way.
to communicate to humans with some sort of information, like right? Yeah.
Pythagoras wanted to prove that there's an order to the universe. And the order of the universe can be measured with symbols, frequencies, numbers, colors, music. Music and numerology use the same frequencies to create music and numerology charts. A friend of mine who is a musician who writes music, she said, yeah, it's all the same. Music's written in a 4/4/4 pattern right now, and it originally was a 4/3/2 pattern. So when you start studying, all these things have been altered to get us to see things differently. Kind of amazing to see that the angels are always here helping us. They don't show up, knock on the door, and say, okay, I want you to learn this. You've got to listen. You've got to train yourself. Find something that interests you and follow it. Like David, you've been following numbers. Just keep going with that. Do whatever you can. Learn what each number means, 1 through 9. That's immense.
Yeah. It's I'm still, because what, Wes knows me very well. I'm like trying, like I totally understand that there's this spiritual world that is like almost unexplainable. Like you can't verbalize it. It's just there. It works. You believe in it. It's like your intuition. You don't know why
Feel
it
it.
works, right?
You feel it. You
Heal. Yeah,
feel.
right. And then I also have this like logical side of my brain that's trying to like compute and comprehend and translate that information, which is exactly what like meditation is and like manifesting, right? Like you're tapping into the spiritual world, and then it's coming down into your brain, and then you're trying to like figure it out and make it happen here on earth, right? So I'm still trying to like put the pieces together of like, okay, this information is there. This frequencies, energy, whatever you want to call it, is there. Pythagoras basically did a shitload of research and figured out that one means independent and whatever. I don't know how he did that. And that's where I'm like, okay, it's true, but and then I don't know where I'm going with it. I'm basically just trying to pretend as if I'm somebody who's watching this and is just like, hold on, they haven't really said the connection. They're basically just saying there's this energy out there and you can tap into it, which is essentially what we've been saying. And maybe there is no way to like verbalize what we're trying to say here, but do you get what I'm saying? Like I'm looking for the exact connection, and maybe I won't get it here.
No, you will. I'll give it to you now.
Okay.
So think of the number 1.
Yep.
Stands by itself, right? Okay. Think of nature, of an animal. If you study a tree that sits all by itself in the field and you study and observe it, you will find out what something as a number 1 frequency needs to do to survive and thrive. If you think about an animal like a fox does not keep the mate other than just to have kids. So I've had a mother fox in my yard for the last 3 years, raising babies. And I understand the energy of a frequency of 1 because she's by herself. She's very creative in how she hunts. She's very creative in how she takes a different path every day. She's very confident that she can run anywhere and outrun anything in the neighborhood that's trying to catch her, that kind of a thing. Think of the number 2, which is the product of the 11 2. How many ones does it take to get a 2? All right. In order the energy of a number 2, you need something outside of yourself to relate to. 2s are very sensitive. Sensitive to what? What environment they're in, what they're eating, what the temperature is, allergies. The number 2 is always relating to something in nature. That's how he figured it out.
Interesting. Okay.
You just look at the energy of a 3. And I love to use this in my coaching. People come to me and say, I don't know what to do. I could do this or I could do that. Well, what else could you do? Well, I don't know, just this or that. The minute you get to the number 3, you can think of all kinds of creative things to do. So, what does the number 3 represent? Creativity. And the Buddhist saying says, 1 begets 2, 2 begets 3, and 3 begets 10,000 things.
Hmm.
Nature can teach you about numerology if you just start watching. That's, I'm sure, how Pythagoras figured it out. He didn't have a Wi-Fi or a Google back then.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's not though. It makes complete sense because up until the technological age, that's what you had to do to
Yeah,
survive. If
I
you
was just
wanted
gonna
to
say that. Like,
survive, you had to observe nature, what was going on around you at all times,
right,
because the threat of a bear was real. The threat of a storm, or you didn't have houses like you had, like we have now, or um,
yeah,
an
your
alert on your
senses,
phone that says the hurricane's close. you
right.
you know
So nature has been teaching us since we were old enough to have legs and brains, I guess. And that's where all of our original information comes from, our environment. It comes from nowhere else.
Hmm. To see, this is why I find the Healy very interesting, because it's like combining the two. It's like technology, from what we've been saying here, is actually hindering our senses of tapping into this for the most part. We're utilizing it too much, right? But then here comes along the Healy, that is actually a device, a high technological device that fits in your pocket, that is actually tapping into everything that you're talking about, right? Without us having to do the work, I guess, right? Um, so, but I think it's also, I always say this, it's like it's a tool, right? It's like it's one of the things. It's like meditation, journaling, Healy,
yeah,
yoga, all this other stuff, you know?
I still think you got to do the work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's I think that's probably, sometimes I think the more work that I do, the more resonant frequencies I feel,
Mm,
and that could be just in my head too. But I also feel like, as I, at the very least, the more that I use it, the more that it makes me aware of my energy, and then be aware of my surroundings. Like I watch the birds. We put a bird feeder in the window. I watch the backyard every day and watch the subtle differences that are happening. When it rains and the plants grow, and because when you think about, I thought about this the other day, of the weed that grows through concrete. We represent that. We are resilient. We can we can grow through concrete. Like, nature will always find a way to exist, to survive, and to thrive. And I believe that to my core. And I think there's a lot of ways that we are trying to describe nature. And I feel like there's a lot of left and weird turns that have made religion. And going back to some very basic things like just numbers is, to me, really resonates.
Yep, numbers are amazing. Sound is another frequency that people use to awaken themselves. You've got the singing bowls, you've got different music does things to our cellular structure. Lights, there's light therapy, different frequencies of light can heal you. There's so many things. And I agree with you, David. I think the concrete that we have to break through is our limited, fixed mindset.
Oh, wow.
mm, mm.
That's the concrete. Once that concrete is opened, you crack it, we can start looking outside of that limited belief. Like, oh my God, look at that.
There's a whole world out there.
Man.
There is. And one of the fellows that came through my training program, uh, he argued and fought with me on everything I tried to teach him. He was a Catholic priest.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
At the end, he left the church. He said, I can't go back to limited thinking anymore.
Mm. Because the church is this is it.
This
This
is
is
it.
there's no other anything. Yeah.
Don't be looking outside of what we give you because this is the truth. And like, well, wait, your truth. So yeah, it was pretty amazing. I still keep in touch with him a little bit on Facebook. He's happily married man with kids now.
Oh wow, he went in. Yeah, totally went in the other direction.
He's in the winner circle now. So,
Wow.
but it is that limited belief that keeps us stuck. And numerology tells us that in 2017 it was time for us to behave. And
Uh, hold
by
on. Sorry. Say that again. 2017. What?
time for us, we're in a 9-year cycle to wake up at a much quicker pace than we had before. And this goes till 2026. And by the end of 2026, we're all going to be a notch or two above where we were 9 years before.
So this is kind of the idea that we're moving from a 3D universe to a 5D universe, yeah?
It's exactly what it is. And I always thought that when I heard that, that we would disintegrate and live in a different frequency. It's not our bodies, it's our mind.
Mm.
The angels and guides live in 5, 6, 12 frequency dimensions. And whatever we do to raise our frequency, we can contact higher and higher guides or angels. And that's where we're going. We're moving our consciousness out of that fixed mindset into at least exploring. And once you start that, you can't turn back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me and
what
David were actually just talking the other day about like how we are talking on this level that a lot of people, I don't know, they just either check out on or whatever. And me and David, like, we don't need to like drink or smoke or whatever. We're just like, let's just keep having these conversations and go deeper and deeper and deeper, you know? And our wives can't even tap into that unless they smoke weed. For a long period of time, you know. So then we were just talking like, all right, well, maybe we're just on this dimension or whatever or frequency together when we have these conversations that other people can tap into, but you know, they're just choose not to, or you know, whatever is limiting their limiting beliefs, so don't allow them to continue the conversation or what. But
well, I mean, one could say that plants carry a frequency as well,
Oh,
and
they definitely do.
plants are a medicine if used properly.
yeah.
And um, yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Maybe.
Well, yeah, when you use the plants, whether it's marijuana or some kind of herb that's going to help clear up your sinus, either one will work. It just takes you to where you'd like to be.
Hmm.
Which is, unless you develop your own skill, you're always going to need something outside of
Man, it's so crazy. Now we're getting into that. Now we're getting to where I want to be.
it. All right.
Talking about, so it's like what I imagine is like the Matrix, and like when the girl's like taking that pill, right? And then it goes in and it like, I don't know if you guys remember that scene, right? Where she eats it and then she gets like an orgasm or whatever. But it's like whatever that is, it's just specifically vibrating at that frequency. So you take weed or cocaine or whatever other drugs, they vibrate at a specific frequency that harmonize with a certain part of your brain or whatever, and make you dive into certain dimensions, maybe we could say, right?
Well, that's a good example. Many years ago, I was teaching a small group meditation technique and changing their frequencies. And one gal came the next week, and she said, "Boy, that last meditation, my husband liked that one." Yeah, he wasn't here. She said, "I went home and attacked him with the best sex we've ever had."
That's so crazy. Was it a specific meditation for fertility or something?
It was a meditation for fertility. It was taking down the barriers to intimacy.
Oh shit.
Wow, that
Interesting.
sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Kind of like
he wanted to pay her at least a year's in advance. You know?
What I've noticed lately, speaking of meditations, is so Wes has a bunch of different meditations. I don't know who they are. Or it's the Daben and Orin, and I don't know your relation with them or whatever. But so I have a few different programs of that, and that's what I use for the most part. But recently, I've tried tapping into other things non-guided, just like frequencies and stuff like that, and they're great sometimes. But I always come back to yours because it's like they just, I don't know if it's because I started with those and that's just like the vibration within me, and that's how my, like I can instantly get back in line with yours as opposed to another meditation. Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, it's the frequency that they transmit during the meditation, in addition to giving you words.
Hmm.
And so when you're listening to that, it sends out a resonance that your body starts vibrating instantly because you've been trained in it, and it's a
Yeah.
feel. And I agree with you. I've tried lots of different ones, and that's still my go-to. I've been meditating for 35, 40 years, almost every day. And if I don't have that high or feeling of life is amazing
Yeah.
because I'm all on my own. I don't have that extra energy I brought in.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost like the more you connect to source, that higher vibration, when you vibrate high and you know what that feels like, you always want to be there. You always
Right.
want to try and stay there, or keep getting back to that bliss state.
Yeah. And talking about frequencies, Lori went uh, given a new doctor because her other one retired. And this lady that is her new doctor, she's in the Western medicine, but her whole family and her believe the natural philosophy than let things. So Lori and I haven't been able to sleep all the way through the night for the last several years since the energies are kind of crazy out there. So the lady said, all you have to do is get a bottle of magnesium, spray bottle of magnesium, spray it on your pillow just before you go to sleep. We've been doing that for 2 weeks and sleeping 7, 8, 9 hours.
Really?
Wow.
I
The
just took some magnesium the other night. I had a pretty good sleep.
frequency of magnesium calms our inner spirit.
Hmm. The minerals, trace minerals.
Minerals, yeah, the mineral carries a vibration.
Right.
Yeah, I took training many years ago on how to make flower essence. And we'd go out and search in the woods and pick the certain plants and bring them in and put them in some alcohol and let them sit in the window for a week or two, and you'd have a flower essence. And pretty amazing.
Huh. Now, you're really into like crystals and stuff too, right? Different stones and whatnot. Now, David is as well. He actually has a company that sells them, and so they carry a frequency, right? Now, how does that? Well, I'm answering my own question, but the relation to numerology and the stones is the frequency, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how to measure what the frequency is of the stone, but I'm sure somebody has, and you'll get a number to it that registers.
Yeah, there's actually a program in the Healy that is what is it called? Something gems, right, David? You know?
Gem elixirs, Alaskan gem elixirs, and they have
Yeah.
Bach flower essences as well in there. Uh,
Okay.
they have Australian bush flowers as well. I think a lot of people have created different ways to create remedies for certain things,
Yeah.
and Healy's taken those and measured the frequency of that and able to, uh, through the frequencies, push it through your body that way.
Now,
Have
Wes, do you feel like that is the equivalent? I mean, to numerology. I mean, it's basically capturing whatever that frequency with whatever device that Healy uses to capture the frequency, right? And it's saying, okay, this is Alaskan gem elixirs or whatever. Like, how accurate do you feel as a numerologist? Do you think that that would be?
I would think it'd be very accurate, maybe 100%, because numerology, stones, liquids, light, we're all measuring the frequency to see what it is so that we can connect to it. So if you're going to have a frequency that clears up arthritis, you need to know what the frequency of arthritis is and what year it
You're cutting out again, Wes. Sorry.
is. Okay. In order to use a frequency, you need
Yeah,
to
I think you just have to speak up. That's all. A little bit louder. Sorry.
understand.
I don't know what's going on there, but you agree, right, David? Like, I'm not crazy.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
here.
think
Okay.
the distance to the phone of the
Right.
microphone picking up, it's
Do you have
sometimes.
a case on your phone, Wes?
Just a little bitty thin one. How's this? Just
That
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 is
might be
good.
a little bit better. Yeah.
let me just turn this around here and let's see what I could do.
Sorry, I just want to make sure everybody hears everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm pretty close to it. Does that make any difference at all?
It's a little choppy. Maybe
Still.
if you take your case off. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Hang on a second. I'll unscrew this. Case is about the size of a piece of skin, but I'll take it off.
All right, take your time. So
All right. Here we go. It's off. All right.
and
Okay.
then now David's got airplanes going over.
Yeah. Yeah. We got all kinds of trouble today.
Yeah, we got airplanes, we got birds in the backyard, we got
All right. Does this sound any
motorcycles.
better? Does this
Actually, I
sound
do feel like this sounds better. All
oh
right.
good? It's that mind focus attention. This is
We're
little
all
red Cooper car. Now it sounds better because I did something.
yes, yeah.
So
You-
frequencies, to answer your question, Joe, frequencies are everywhere. Everything on this planet is made up of frequencies.
Mm.
A piece of furniture is a bunch of frequencies. The thing that I love to work with is thoughts. If you have a thought about something or an intention on something, for instance, Joe, you maybe in our class where we did an annual beginning of the year, set your intentions of what you want to create.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people have no idea, but they kind of know what the dream would look like. So once you have your dream and announce it to the universe, that sets up a vibration to attract different frequencies to come together to bring it into this third dimensional world so that you can actually hold your dream in your hand. And I believe it was, what the heck was it? Einstein, I think, said, if you can picture something in your mind and hold it in your mind, you can soon hold it in your hand. He said, that's not philosophy, that's physics.
Yes.
So what he's telling us is, if you want something, hold that picture in your mind, and pretty soon you'll have it in your hand.
Yeah.
We talked about this what was the last time we talked? Tuesday we talked about the idea of imprinting on the universe versus being imprinted upon. So the idea that there's all these frequencies out there and we have the ability to hone in, as you say, visualize your dream
Yeah.
and make it manifest or make it tangible. And that is a very empowering thought, as opposed to the idea that everything is random and it's all around and we have no choice. So everything is imprinting on us, or the idea that we're just victims in this life.
Right. No, it's very true, David. We were born as a creative vehicle. And we've lost our belief that we create everything in our life. However, what you three of us are doing today started with a few thoughts a few weeks ago or months ago. That's why we're all here. We
Right.
created it. We don't, yeah, there's random things that happen, but most of the things that we deal with every day are what we created.
Right. Actually, that's a great point of like when you're having a podcast, it's like it, this is just a conversation that the three of us could be having in a closet right now, right?
Yeah.
Nobody would ever know, but because we we're creating something tangible, we had an idea, we got together, and now the tangible thing is this podcast going out to the world. I don't know. I just that could have been very obvious to you guys, but to me, it was like, oh, that's what we're doing right now, right?
It really is. And if we believe that, and what do you want to do next week? You hold that in your mind, and pretty soon next week, hey, I always want to do this. Here it is.
Yeah. Well, I would like to have you on again for sure because there's so much more like I mean, we could literally sit here and talk for hours. I don't know how much time you got, but uh, uh
This is what we do. Joe and I have deep conversations all the time, and we don't pretend to know everything or anything. We're just two guys that like to have free thoughts and have deep conversations. And we find that it is few and far between that people do enjoy doing that. And so it's refreshing, and we really appreciate you carving out that time and space to make it
Yeah,
happen today.
yeah. These are thought inspiring conversations. Somebody will pick this up. Maybe a bunch of people will pick it up, start thinking about it, and it'll change their life. And that's why I like to do this kind of a thing, because
exactly.
if each one of us just reach one person during our lifetime, I believe we get a gold star in heaven.
Right, right, right. And we're just trying to spread the word.
Yeah.
It's almost like like a churchy thing, but not really. We're just basically telling everybody that this is out there, and you can tap into it. And the more you look into this and research and listen to podcasts like this or whatever, the more you'll be able to see what we're talking about, I think.
Is this any place where you can store it and send me a link so I can share it with people on my
Oh yeah,
place?
as soon as we're done, this is on YouTube, it's on Twitter instantly. We'll send you the links and stuff.
We're live
Okay.
on
And
Facebook.
then did
We're on
you
all the social media
yeah,
platforms.
did you connect your
Yeah.
Facebook to Wes? I'm talking to Wes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it's live right now on your page as well, and it'll probably put it on to your page instantly right after we're done.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'll send you everything afterwards though.
Okay. Good. All right,
Yeah, Wes,
guys.
it's been a pleasure. I mean, I love talking to you. This was my secret way of being able to talk to you more.
Well,
and it's I still am like right at this point like unsatisfied really. Like I want to talk to Wes every day of my life all the time just because of like the insight that you get about yourself and then just ideas that come about of conversation. I mean, I remember that whole year that we were doing those sessions together. Like that was my most exciting part of the week. I was like, I'm gonna go see Wes for 2 hours. Like this is gonna be great, you know. And to be honest with you, I mean, you know me pretty well now. Uh, like that 7 challenge that I'm transitioning out of, that 7 challenge is the challenge of spirituality, correct?
yeah.
And I still am challenged with that to the point of I believe that even this podcast is part of that. Like I'm questioning the Healy, still questioning numerology, where it comes from, how does it actually work, all this other stuff, you know. And I'm trying my best to just go with the flow with it.
Well, the
This is why
secret,
we
the
love you.
secret, the secret, Joe, which I tried to teach you in the meditation, and Ben did his best. Observe, experience, and be creative.
Mm,
The minute you try to figure it out, you've lost it.
yeah. Oh my gosh, Wes.
That's meditation every time. And the moment that I try and do something in meditation is the moment that that connection goes away.
And
Yep.
that's probably like, yeah, it's and that's also maybe sort of in correlation with what you said before, David, though, of like the like how you feel like the Healy works better when you're actually doing all these things, when you're meditating, you're doing the work as opposed to just wearing it, which is, to be honest, what I do sometimes. And I'm like, oh, I did all these programs today and they didn't even really do anything. And I think it's like I need to be more attentive when doing these things.
Well,
Um,
I think everything, we talked about too in a previous podcast, the separation of mind, body, spirit. And I think for Joe and I, we've always, been on the same level of fitness. And like we're always focusing on our bodies, eating healthy and fitness and working out and doing this. And that's all just one of the three. And so we're
mm,
now coming to a place with energy and spirituality, and it's not so black and white. It's
Right.
you
yeah,
know, it's
yeah.
not just eat
Okay,
this.
guys, let's tune in again in whenever you're ready, and this has been fun.
Okay, yeah. Let's yeah, we'll try and get you on again sometime, and I appreciate you coming on.
Okay, guys, take care.
All right,
Thanks.
thanks, Wes. Have a nice day.
Well, that was awesome.
Huh?
That was awesome.
That was
Awesome.
awesome.
So
So
great.
it was a little abrupt. I think Wes had to get going.
Yeah, I mean, it went over an hour. I'm sure he probably planned an hour.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
What do you
wow,
think?
that was great.
I
So
mean, we
much.
didn't even get it. Like, I actually, I wanted him to like do your numerology, but
No, I wouldn't ask him to do. I mean, that's what he does for a profession. I wouldn't ask him to do that for free.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I didn't say. And then we were getting into all this other stuff that was like so much deeper.
I think just talking about the correlation with vibration of numbers was great for, our five listeners. Um, no, I think that was awesome, and that gives me a lot of stuff to think about. And
Yeah, what'd you think about what he was saying about like your repeating numbers stuff?
I mean, it tracks. I feel um, like I said, there is little nuances that I'm noticing now with the repeating numbers that they're so frequent that it to me is a sign that it's not just about, oh, I'm on my path. It's now you're on your path, but focus on this.
Well,
And
what numbers you said you're seeing like 444, 555?
all of it. And it's almost
All of
how
them. Like you're seeing like 7 7, like 6 6 6, all those things.
not 666 really, because it can't happen on the or 777 or 999 or 888.
Oh, because you're talking about like clockwise.
It's mostly like clock because I'm with my phone all the time, whether it's work or whatever.
Hmm.
But it can be license plates or addresses or other things as well. But it's
Hmm.
also kind of almost like a wavelength between me and Melissa because we're always on the same wavelength. It's crazy.
Because I think Wes had a good point of like, it's probably a good idea for you to understand what the numbers mean. So
Yes.
when you see it, so like I was thinking, so when you were talking about that, I was looking at your numerology actually, and so or in your earlier years you had a 4 challenge, and then right now you have a 5 challenge, which is transferring into a 1 challenge. So that literally answers, in my
1111.
your 444, 555, and 1111, right? And the weird thing is that I've noticed through numerology is that like when I look back, I like you used to play probably baseball or soccer, right? When you're younger, right? You were on
Soccer. Yeah.
a team. What was your number when you were younger?
Oh, dude, I have no idea.
You have no idea. You don't remember?
No, I don't even think I picked a number. It was just like, man, I will tell you, I did not like sports. I just wanted to play my keyboard and listen to my Walkman. I wanted to play sports for my dad.
First,
I ended up liking soccer, but it
yeah.
still was like not. I'm more of a music person, and I would have loved to just learn every instrument, but that didn't happen.
Well, interesting enough, like I do remember my numbers, and my number was always like 7 and 11, right? So my challenge is 7, and I'm at number 11. And what I'm finding is a lot of people will like think that their number that they pick for their uniform or whatever is like their number, but that's actually usually their challenge in life. And
That's
it's like the
hilarious.
universe saying like, okay, here it is, like figure this shit out, you know?
Literally figure it out on the field right now.
Right, 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 right.
Man, that's hilarious.
I mean, I kind of, we should ask Wes next time that, like, if he's seen that in other people, but that's what I've noticed, at least in myself. Um, but yeah, I mean that could be it, you know. And then the 4 is like organization and like structure, right? The 5 is travel, exploration, like kind of having like a wild hair, you know.
Or just
Um,
like working and living overseas for 14 years.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So so just like this is what I'm saying. Once you if you start to understand the numbers, and then when you see like 444, like think about whatever you're doing at that time, and if maybe it has something to do with like organization or straightening out something or figuring things out or like doing your taxes or some shit, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, like he said, if I were to, I think it really resonated with me when he said that numbers come from nature. So, taking the imagery of a fox, or and in my mind, I was thinking of a wolf,
Hmm.
because
Lone
wolves
wolf.
travel alone. Well, actually, I think he's wolves travel in pairs. Actually, they like mate for life. Whereas his example
Yeah,
is they
really
don't.
loner.
So they're really super, on their own. But just the idea of maybe finding those numbers in nature to me really resonates with me because I think there'll be a more complex lesson by studying the life of a fox as opposed to reading four words to describe what one means, if that makes sense.
Mm,
You could say one is independence, leadership, this, that, but think of one and look at a fox's life and see what you come up with on top of those.
right.
And if I can really connect numerology with that sort of thing, 1 through 9, I think I'll probably be on a better path to understanding what the universe is trying to tell me through numbers.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can kind of give you the lowdown real quick. One is independent, like leader type. Two, loves is very sensitive to environment and things, and then also likes to work in groups. Three is the creative, right? Four is like I said, structure. Five is like traveling, exploring, like doing just getting out of the box. Six, I always forget what six is. I'll get back to you on that one. Seven is the spirituality, very sometimes they don't come across as spiritual, but they are. You know who's a 7? Tonda. Tonda's a 7.
Oh, well, she's definitely spiritual.
Yeah. 8 is like all to do with like money and power control of finances and stuff like that. And
That's what
9,
Melissa's an 8.
oh, okay.
I'm a 9.
That's why she runs the books for you guys.
I run the books.
Oh, you hold on. I thought she does. Well, she kind of like back end controls it.
Inventory, yeah. I mean,
You got
I always check in with her,
you got to run it
make
by her.
final decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like
Uh,
the big boss where she just kind of like oversees and then, okay, that's good.
right. And actually, that's great because man, having an 8 is like everything's as far as like financially, no matter what, everything's gonna be fine.
Yep.
And then 9, which is what you are and is what Aaliyah is like universal, like caring, giving, wanting to impact the world. Um, and then you got your master numbers 11, 22, 33. The 11 is me, which is very intuitive. This is why I kind of know things before they're gonna happen. I'm always way ahead of the game, and then sometimes I'll give up on the thing too far, too
Yeah.
early. Yeah, yeah,
Before it's reached its full potential because you're so dang early.
yeah. And then 22 is like your like master builder. They can like they have a direct connection. All master numbers do, but 22 is like they can do what we do through meditation, pull something down and figure out how to manifest it here like super easily. And there's your breakdown.
It was very, very fast.
Yeah.
But
You can always come back to this video and play it again.
no, I think I have to, in order to like absorb that fully. I think I have to experience it, and to me, for him to talk about nature in that way, I think that's one way. That'll be my pathway to try and understanding these
Yeah. Yeah, for you, I think that's the way.
frequencies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a lot. I hope that was some fun information for you guys, and it was much better after he took his case off.
It was, right? I felt like an asshole for like keep like bugging him about it, but I couldn't understand what he was saying.
I know it was breaking up, and I think it's because a lot of these phone cases they cover there's a little hole,
Mm,
and it works with the sound for noise suppression.
yep.
And if it's covered, it can't get the outside noise with the microphone to get the signal properly. So I think
Right.
that's what was going on. We could
David
probably,
used to work for Apple. That's why he knows
yeah,
everything.
we could probably cut out because I don't want to bore people. It's been an hour and a half, so
Oh, you don't want to keep this in? This is the real shit, David.
it is. But
This is a back end talking about the show after.
oh, is
God.
this the backstage? You get the show and then the backstage pass.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Nobody's gonna give a fuck about this after we have 180 fucking episodes.
So this very video goes viral and then gets used against you like Joe Rogan.
Great, great. So
Yeah,
be it.
no.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, man.
You
Thanks.
what are you doing this weekend? You got Easter plans or you want to talk about that offline?
Yeah, there's still people watching. Look at all these people on Twitter. Thank you guys.
All right, all right.
I'll see you later.